right. So this morning we're connected with the very own co-chair of Y20 Summit, Indra Dwi Prasetyo. Good morning, Mas Indra. Thank you so much for joining us right here at the C Morning Show.
Yeah, good morning from Bukit Tinggi.
Hi, how are you? So, let's just take a look at the Y20 agenda. You started on February the 19th, where the Y20 2022 kickoff meeting. You have pre-summit events on the 19th and 20th of March, the first one, and you have the second one on 23rd and 24th of April, and of course on May, before this summit is going to be held on July 2022. So what has been the focus and topics that has been brought up in this year's Youth 20 or Y20 Summit, Mas Indra?
Yeah, thank you. Our main topic is what you guys mentioned earlier is we want to recover from this COVID-19. So we want to rebuild our agenda beyond the COVID-19. So we have 4 focus, job employment. Then we have digital transformation, we have sustainability living, and inclusivity. So it is all our main agenda for this Y20 this year.
Mas Indra, we mentioned earlier that youth employment is definitely something that has been greatly affected by COVID-19. But what are some of the other major issues that is faced by youths in Indonesia these days?
Yeah, besides unemployment, I will say accessibility is another problem faced by the youth.
Yep.
Accessibility is not only to get a fund, but how to access education, how to access the mentors, for example. So yeah, employment and accessibility is those 2 problems we see.
Right, and Mas Indra, the ministers said they had, they are going to fully support the Indonesian youths, especially in entrepreneurship in your first pre-summit meetings. So, I mean, it is, like you said, accessibility. I mean, it's very accessible for those that's living in our capital city or even major cities in Indonesia. But what about those youngins, especially who wants to start their business and want to be an entrepreneur, but they live in rural or in remote areas in Indonesia?
Yeah. First, we need to define that entrepreneur is not all about those who live in the big cities such as Jakarta, but then to match their potentials. And regarding that, we see that social is important. We need to make sure government supports the youth who live in Jakarta or big city in Indonesia, but again, those who live in the small cities in Indonesia. That's why in Indonesia, for example, we have Kartu Prakerja, for example. It is one of the efforts from the government to make sure that Indonesian youth can access funding from the government and then can access training and development from the government. I think it is a good support from the government, but then again, it's not enough. We need stakeholder participation in this case. Not only government, but then again, the business support, media support, community support, and I think the government should act as an orchestrator in this case.
All right, let's break down youth employment even further. We mentioned the declining labor absorption earlier on, which actually has forced youth mostly seeking for their first job to take any job that they can get, regardless of the benefits or career advancement or even their salary. So how can these issues be tackled?
Yeah, Y20, we see that social protection is important. Particularly in this pandemic era. We see job employment is one issue before pandemic, and it becomes worsened in this pandemic. So social is a must. The government should make sure that they have a safety net for youth. And like I mentioned earlier, we have Kartu Prakerja, but it's one of them. The second thing is the government should force, I want to say that we have stakeholder participation. The government should act as an orchestrator to make sure that the youth has the resource. First, we have financial resource, accessibility resource, market resource. So I would like to highlight that the government in this case is important to support the youth, not only as a fund and education and training, but then again, in the business itself. So those who live in the small area in Indonesia can have their own small business to maximize their potential.
Even though now is the year of 2022, Mas Indra, and we've seen a lot of the youths nowadays, they're stepping away from more of the conventional or professionalism in the job industry, where people maybe before laboring in factories and whatnot, now they want to start their own businesses. They want to create something, be more creative, and implementing themselves in the industry. Does the government or any private sector give special trainings or to level up their skills or workshops and whatnot to kind of give them an enhancement of what they want to do?
Yeah. I think the government itself has done the good job in this kind of steps. So they have the support of the government. But then again, in Y20, the community participation is very high. So the youth is, I think, what is the good strength of youth is the community. We collaborate each other, we help each other. So in this case, I will say that youth itself is a movement, a big movement. So, for example, the community in this area helping those community in this another area, and so I think the involvement of youth as a community is important.
Right, Mas Indra, there's been many downsides, but one of the benefits of being in the pandemic for the past 2 years is the advanced movement or the advancement of the digital era. And it so happens at the Y20 pre-summit, digital transformation was a topic that was discussed as well. Now, how can the youth take advantage of this kind of digital era that we live in now? Because obviously there's going to be a lot of job opportunities that is created because of this as well.
First, we need to realize that the benefit of internet internet is not widely distributed or easily distributed. We need to realize that. But then again, we need to realize that access to the internet is not everything. Access to the internet is not always translated into meaningful engagement. That's why, seeing that, we see the youth is an orchestrator. We are the enabler. We would like to orchestrate those who live in the big cities and then give it and distribute it to those who live in the area. So we don't. Yes, it is a problem facing by Indonesia, but we need to tackle that into a solution. What we see is the youth can be an enabler for this. So we can take an advantage here and then give it and distribute it there. Things like that.
Right, and it's just, hopefully with this Y20 summit itself, we can help those young, the youths in this rural areas. They can upbring their city, they don't have to go to the, big city, major cities for them to experience jobs, but they make their job, they make more fields for people, to have a workspace there in their areas. Now, we know that there are more, there's about 80 delegates of Y20 from various countries in the world that is going to join in the Y20 summit itself. So what can we expect from the Y20 summit 2022 right here in Indonesia? And what will bring, when the summit's resolution, you've already come up with a resolution, will you bring this to the president as he can cater that and convey your Y20 summit resolution to the G20 summit?
Yes, exactly. First, we would like to capture all of the voice of youth in Indonesia. Of course, we cannot, gather all of the voices, but again, we have worked to hear voice from local area in Indonesia. The secondly, we would like to gather all of those voices into Y20 summit. And then we will bring these voices to the government, particularly to President Joko Widodo. And we do believe and we do hope that President Joko Widodo will bring this voice to the G20 summit, President summit. So I think by doing this, we create a small movement to help all of the youth in Indonesia and all of G20 youth to be heard by the government.
Well, we look forward to a more productive the Y20 summit that's coming up this summer as well, which will lead to the G20 summit, which is obviously the main event. And we do hope that some of these issues will be addressed at the G20 summit as well. Mas Indra, thank you so much for your time and your insight into this matter.
Thank you so much.
And best success for all the pre-summit events and, and then coming to the summit in summer 2022, July.
Have a great weekend, Mas Indra. Take care. Thanks for joining us.